I love movies, but when it comes to horror, my top favorite is Italian filmmaker and screenwriter Dario Argento. Son of spaghetti western filmmaker Salvatore Argento, Dario Argento has made many cult classic films, including the trilogy known as The Three Mothers, which consists of the films Suspiria, Inferno, and The Mother of Tears. This cult master did more than direct movies. He also collaborated with the band Goblin, creating soundtracks for his films as well as George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Dario Argento's journey began as a film critic. In the 60s, he was asked by director Sergio Leone to collaborate with him and Bernardo Brucioli on the screenplay for the film Once Upon a Time in the West, thus embarking on a path that will lead to Argento's success in film. Dario was interested in the Italian style of filmmaking called giallo, referring to a particular style of Italian-produced films that have elements of horror fiction and eroticism. His first directed release was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage in 1970 that helped popularize the giallo genre. While Argento continued to make films with elements of the giallo style, he incorporates his own mix of well-visualized horror and has managed to create a film style unlike any other. In 1975, Dario came out with Deep Red, claimed by many critics as the best giallo film. It not only made Argento known, but inspired many filmmakers to work in the genre. American film director John Carpenter even made reference to the influence Dario Argento's early work had on his film Halloween. Argento's next horror movie was Suspiria in 1977, which he intended to be the first of his trilogy, The Three Mothers, referring to three ancient witches that reside in three different modern societies. Suspiria had less of a giallo element, but was praised for its spectacular horror, surreal, visionary experience, with amazing use of colors, lighting, and sound. Argento collaborated with the band Goblin, creating eerie, entrancing synth music for his films and others, including Dawn of the Dead in 1978. He did all this in between the making of the second film for his trilogy, Inferno, in 1980, about a girl who finds a book called The Mother of Tears and believes she resides in the same apartment building as one of the three witches. In 1982, after Inferno, Argento returned to a more traditional style of the giallo genre with his film Tenebrae, about an author who finds out a killer is reenacting deaths from his recently released novel. He said this film was inspired by a fan who called Argento day after day, eventually promising death threats. Luckily, no action was taken, but instead inspired Dario to make this great film. Dario loved to use new technology and create unique styles. Although Tenebrae is an Italian word meaning shadows, Argento instructed cinematographer Luciano Tovoli to film the movie with as much bright light as possible, to create a modern future look. One can also point out his love for new technology by the use of Steadicam shots in the 1985 film Phenomena. I love this film because it has elements of the giallo horror and supernatural fantasy. A young Jennifer Connelly plays a film actor's daughter who can communicate with bugs, all while coping with an unwelcoming school, a sleepwalking issue, and a crazed murderer with a deformed son. Dario Argento's choice of music for this particular film makes it a unique experience with songs from Goblin and many bands including Iron Maiden for the soundtrack. After Phenomena, Dario Argento took a break from directing to write screenplays for the Lamberto Bava's film Demonia, aka Demons and Demons 2. He later returned in 1987 with what became one of his more successful commercial films, known as Opera. In 1993, he came out with yet another amazing movie known as Trauma, starring his own daughter Asia Argento as a young girl named Ara that faces anorexia, escapes a mental hospital, and finds out her mother faked her own death to wreak havoc on the doctors who accidentally killed her newborn son. The character Ara is inspired by Asia Argento's half-sister Anna that actually suffered from anorexia. He came out with the film The Stendhal Syndrome in 1966, again featuring his lovely daughter, Asia Argento, as a policewoman who suffers from the Stendhal Syndrome and is trapped by a serial killer. The Stendhal Syndrome is unique because it was one of the first Italian movies to ever use CGI. The opening scene was shot in Florence, Italy at the Uffizi Gallery, one of the oldest and most famous art museums of Europe, and Dario Argento is the only director ever granted permission to shoot there. From 1998 through 2004, Dario Argento kept busy with films. Because Argento is often referred to as the Hitchcock of horror for so long, he directed a television movie in 2005 called Do You Like Hitchcock? In honor of the thriller film director Alfred Hitchcock. In 2007, Argento finished his Three Mothers trilogy with the film The Mother of Tears, starring his daughter Asia, along with mother and frequent collaborator Daria Nicolai as the supporting actress. Dario Argento's later work consists of the 2009 film called Giallo and the horror film Dracula 3D, directed by Dario Argento in 2005. His most recent project is The Sandman, a Christmas horror movie starring rock and roll legend Iggy Pop, who plays a masked killer. After a fundraising campaign, the film was released on April 11, 2015. Dario Argento has inspired myself as well as many others. I hope this documentary encourages you to indulge in his films and hopefully add to his growing cult horror fan base.